Hi, everyone. This is Krista Dunk, and welcome to our training today. I'm glad to have you here with me. We're going to be talking about how to write a lead magnet book, and looking forward to this. This is a training that I actually ran for my Author Acceleration Academy group last week. That was our last week's weekly training. So we kind of had a private session of that. And I thought, you know what? I think I'm just going to do this again. I have a lot of friends and a lot of people in my network who are authors and entrepreneurs, and just could use this kind of information. And so I thought, why not? Why not? Let's talk about this, and I'll put it out there, and hopefully it'll be very helpful for people. And as usual, I have a PowerPoint presentation that I would like to just share. Oh, thank you, Mark. And there is some chat. I will be asking you all to do some chatting at certain points. This is going to be a little bit of workshop today, a lot of training. And yes, so hopefully you will walk away with some new ideas and some new strategies and new perspectives on this whole lead magnet book concept. So let me share my screen. Okay, let me share only part of my screen so you don't have to see all of everything. Okay, here we go. Let me adjust this a little bit. Okay, can you guys see that okay? Are you seeing my screen? Okay, great. Thumbs up, nods. Okay, perfect. How to write lead magnet books. This is going to be fun. I enjoy talking about writing and publishing books. I work with authors all the time. In fact, many of you know me. I think some of you might not know me that well. And so I am an author myself. I have 11 books with 12 and 13 on the way. I have worked with other authors since 2012, which I have very, very much enjoyed. I'm an entrepreneur, and I lead 100X Publishing and Author Acceleration Academy. 100X Publishing is the publishing brand that I run that helps people to get their books published with actual services to help people publish, like editing and formatting and book covers, and helping people get their files and things uploaded to their Amazon author accounts and things like that. So all the practical pieces. And then Author Acceleration Academy is it's a school, online school and community for self-publishing authors. And we meet once a week. We have a training. We have tons of information that's like resources and links and checklists and templates and a lot of information, all helping people to organize and develop their book's content, work on their writing skills, figure out how to do all the publishing tasks that are required to get a book published, and then marketing as well. We talk about that too. There is a lot to know when it comes to writing a book. And today we're getting very specific. We're talking about a very specific type of book that has a very specific purpose. And so I'm looking forward to this because I like also talking to business people. So this is a very much a business person's entrepreneur or organization leaders or people in ministry or whatever it is. You're leading something, you're doing something, and you are hoping to invite people into your world so that you can help them in deeper ways. And so, we have more people who popped in. We have Roseanne and Jan. Great, welcome. Okay, so let's get into this. What is a lead magnet book? I would say 99% of the time, it's a nonfiction book, and it is always a marketing tool. This is part of your marketing strategy for whatever you are doing. And it's a marketing tool used to introduce people to you, your approach, methods, beliefs, experience, expertise, whatever that looks like, depending on your topic, and what you offer. What are the next step things, and kind of what you do? How do you help people? And typically, I see these come in two different forms here. Either it's a really short and direct book that's oftentimes maybe even just an ebook, like a PDF that somebody could download from your website or something like that. That's a quick read, kind of report style. Maybe it's your signature talk. We will talk about that more in just a minute. And I don't know if you've been in the business world for a while. I would say reports were super popular like 10 years ago. Get my free report on the 5 steps to blah, 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 whatever it is. And those would typically be used as like a free giveaway type thing. And people still use these in various forms, these short, kind of very direct, targeted piece of information. Maybe it's 20 pages, 25 pages, something like that, where it's a quick read, okay? Or I also see people writing more of a full book, and it still can be a lead magnet type item. And maybe it contains more like some kind of personal, like testimony or journey, stories, how-to steps that maybe somebody teaches on often, or it's more of an expanded signature talk with more content and detail in there. And maybe that full book looks like 150 pages or something like that of a print book. And I know I'm really small right now, but this book, Author Acceleration, for me, is my lead magnet book when it comes to working with authors. And yeah, I actually, it's exactly 150 pages, just happens to be. And it follows the framework for a challenge that I run, which is an online class called the 10-Day Write Your Book Challenge. And my book and the chapters really follow quite closely what I teach in that challenge, in that online class. And so just as an example there. So those are the two kind of forms I see lead magnets coming in. And I want you to know it doesn't have to be one or the other. You could actually have one of each of these. You could have something that you create that's a really short lead magnet book that you could give away, maybe in exchange for getting somebody's name and email address, and then they're on your newsletter list or something like that. And you could have a more of an expanded book too that's still a lead magnet. So you could do both, actually. Okay. All right. So this, like I said, is a marketing tool. You write it once and it keeps working for you, which is amazing. And what I mean by keeps working for you is when you write a book, you really are sharing a piece of yourself. And while somebody is reading that, it just builds relationship. It builds relationship. And you're not having to meet with them directly to build this relationship. You've already written this book and it's kind of doing that for you. So I say here, it builds relationship with leads. So in this presentation here, in this training, just know that leads and readers for this book, kind of book purpose, are kind of the same. They're one and the same. Okay. If you are a self-publishing author, like I typically work with, this lead magnet book is a tool that's lasting, but it's also easy to update, because if you have the files for your book, you can easily update things as needed. If you have a link to a website page or something, then, and maybe it changes 6 months from now, well, go into your finalized files that are ready for print and Kindle or whatever you're going to be doing, and just update it, resave it, re-upload it to your author account on Amazon or wherever that's at. And there you go. That new update is right there immediately, which is awesome. That's, I think, one of the perks of being doing self-publishing. Okay. And a lot of marketing, you don't make money on the actual marketing tools that you create very often. It usually costs you money. But a book is something that you could sell it and you could make some money from your book, right? So that's a little different. Normally you're just spending money on marketing, and you will spend a little bit of money on creating a book. There are some expenses involved, but you can also make money from this marketing tool too. It can also get you some speaking and training opportunities if you would like that, which is awesome. And it also gives your leads something that's highly valuable to them. Okay. So a lead magnet book as a marketing tool is kind of special. And I love them a lot. Of course, working with authors, of course, I recommend people have one. All right. But first and foremost, aside from the fact that your lead magnet book is hopefully going to get you some customers, some clients, some members, some whatever that looks like, first and foremost, in my opinion, you have to write this book still with the purpose to help people. That is big, in my opinion. Always, whatever you're going to do when it comes to writing a book, have that be priority number one. I want to give people value, something that's valuable to them in this book. Because, why do it? I've seen a lot of things in marketing that's pretty kind of cheesy, shall you say? And it's like, did I actually learn anything with this? Or was it just all a bunch of hype and blah, blah, yada, yada stuff? I don't really personally ascribe to that philosophy. I want to give people valuable things and help them in some meaningful way in their life with what I write. And so, yes, always keep that in mind. Your competitors might be doing this already, so it could benefit you to have a lead magnet book of your own. And readers and leads are going to see you as the subject or industry authority on this. It just starts to build credibility with the people who read. They're like, oh yeah, I could see that they really know about this, and they've really had some experience with this, and they really understand this. And so, yeah, obviously that helps in that way too. The know, like, and trust factor is building as they read. The book is kind of selling you, especially if you're someone who has a hard time with talking about yourself. When it comes to marketing purposes and things like that, this book is kind of doing the work for you. And you don't even have to write it as super salesy or anything like that either. You really don't. And we can talk about that more in a little bit too. But it's an opportunity to highlight your skills, your wisdom, your specialties, your services. And also it's an opportunity to give some social proof. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with that term, but that's just like, besides hearing it from you, who are the people who you've helped in the past and what did they have to say? A lot of times people want to know that. Like, we go to Amazon and we buy a pair of shoes and we look at the reviews. We look at the buyer testimonials, really, is what those are. And so you could potentially include some client testimonials or just little stories from people you've helped in the past. And that could be super helpful in a book like this, potentially. Okay. This also makes for an excellent giveaway or low-cost item, kind of that we talked about a little bit already. And, and number 8, being an author is just cool. I think it's fun. Yeah. Jill's like, yes. And so some of you on here I know are already authors, and you may or may not have written a lead magnet book yet, and that's okay. But it can just be one more book on your backlist. It's called. The backlist is just the list of books that you've written. And you can use it in all kinds of ways. And maybe you use it in one way the first year that it's out and take a little break, but you can always pick it up again and start to use it again in a different way if you wanted to. So yes, I love being an author, and I hope that you all will become authors, publish authors in the future as well. Okay, so thinking about our little number one here on the list to help people, this is our first little workshop item. What do you help people with? And I want you to go in the chat. I'm going to open the chat. And just little public service announcement. I don't do a good job of looking at the chat while I'm talking, but I am going to be opening the chat like right now. So yes, what do you help people with that you would potentially want to write a lead magnet book about? So go ahead and chat that if you would. Jill says, are they usually used in PDF form or actually a printed version? Well, you can do both if you'd like. If you're going to write something really, really short, if you're going to have Amazon print it and you're going to sell it on Amazon, it needs to be 24 pages or more to do a print version. You can do a Kindle version at any length. You can create something that's PDF that you sell from your website specifically. So yeah, any of those options are great. Andrea Singer, making prayer fun and engaging. Janet, teach people to hear the voice of the Father. Roseanne, dream coach, supporting people in achieving goals, both personal and professionally. Naomi, trust your almost hidden deeper voice, how to feel comfortable with death process. Oh, near-death experience. Okay. Yeah. Jill, I help people write and self-publish storybooks. Cool. Christine, learning to live the love you are. Oh, focusing on seeing the gifts in their life and loving the growth experiences that come their way. Cool. Mark, I help people find their dream career, their divine destiny. Cool. Troby, helping people develop resiliency. Cindy, oh, Cindy's here too. Grieving with excellence. Yes, 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 so good. Yes, these are all very valuable topics, very valuable topics. And each of you have different experiences with these. A lot of times, oh, depression too, yeah. A lot of times we talk about things that we have personal experiences with, and that's some of the most powerful things we can talk about, actually. And I feel like we have more of an authority when we've walked some of these paths ourselves. And so, yes, very, very good. Thank you for sharing all of those. Okay. If you can answer these two questions, I'm going to go on a little detour for a moment and talk about titles and subtitles. If you can answer, like, what do I help people with and who do I help? If you have a very clear picture of those two answers, that can become part of your book's title or subtitle for a lead magnet book. Because in my professional opinion, when you have a lead magnet book, you really should have a really clear, obvious title and match the branding that you have for your business or company or ministry or whatever it is. Because people need to see themselves in the book title and the combination of the title and subtitle. They need to clearly know that it's for them. They need to be like, oh, he wrote this book for me. She's talking to me in this book. I can tell. And that's important with this kind of book, in my opinion. And so if you can answer, like, what do I help people with? And who, the what and the who, include some of those keywords in your title and subtitle. And when it comes to matching the branding, if you already have like logos and company color schemes and things, or maybe you don't yet, but you're going to be developing that. And so you probably, because of the lead magnet book, like for example, Author Acceleration, guess what my group is called? Author Acceleration Academy. So in the title of the book is actually matching the branding, and the kind of the color schemes too. There's some match overlap there as well in what I've done with the cover. And so, yeah, think about the branding and how you can kind of match. If you teach a class already, if you have a coaching program already or something like that, maybe it has a name, and maybe the name of the program could also be the name of the book. That would be a very obvious correlation and branding match or something like that. I suppose I could have named my book the 10-Day Write Your Book Challenge. I could have named it that as something that matched the branding. But yes. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. And here's some examples of just, I completely made these up. If these books exist out there, I have no idea. I made them up last week, just as some examples. So the Homeschool Family's Guide to Algebra. That is super obvious who that book is for and what it's about, right? It's for people who do homeschooling, and it's about math, algebra specifically. Adventure Hiking, must-have tips and tools for hiking in the Cascades, which is the mountain range in my home state, Washington. And so, pretty obvious. And my hometown is Olympia, Washington. Buying Olympia, how to find your perfect home in Washington State's capital city. And so, yeah, obvious who that book is for, what it's about. And here's some other ones here. Overcoming Trauma, 7 Steps to Healing Your Heart Today. Okay, that would be obviously something people would know. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I need, right? Get Unstuck, The Art of Forgiveness When They Don't Deserve It. That's a little snarky, but that could capture somebody's attention, because there are people who are thinking they don't deserve for me to forgive them, or just, okay, that was a silly little subtitle there, but you get the point. You see kind of what I'm trying to say here. When it comes to a lead magnet book, yes, make it fairly obvious what it's about and who it's for, so they can self-select when they read the title and subtitle and be like, oh yeah, that's a book for me. They're talking to me. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. Any questions so far on anything about, that was just a little title idea. Actually too, I'd like to know if any of you have an idea for a lead magnet book already, and you're thinking about a title too. So if you want to put that in the chat, see who is with us. Oh, Donald has joined us as well. Marilyn, welcome all. Glad to have you here. Okay. I have an idea, but not necessarily a title yet. Okay. I have a feeling that's probably a lot of people. But if you know who you help and what you help people with, you could play around with some combinations there. Donald, can a fiction book be a lead magnet book? It can. I don't see it very often, but I think it can. I think somebody could get creative and make that work somehow. Oh, Jill's going to try a fiction too. Sort of. Okay, yeah. I think it is possible. Yeah. I have seen it a few times in the past. Yep. So it's good. Okay. I believe my book may be a lead magnet book, but it's too long in its current form. Okay. Okay. And that's also something, Jan, that you could repurpose some of the content for that you in a book that you've currently written already and make it a little more concise and obvious about its kind of lead magnet purpose, if that makes sense. So I think that could definitely be something that you could do. Yeah. Overcoming the shoulds of prayer, creative ways to connect with God as you go. That's a fun working title, Andrea. Love that. Love that. Okay. Very good. Yeah. And I have to say too, it's okay to have a working title. And some of you may not get the exact title till you're almost done. I've had experiences in my writing processes before where I had a working title and I was a little bit wishy-washy about it for a while. And then like towards the very, very end of my writing process, finally it was like, the light bulb came on and I had a great title that suddenly just hit me finally. But some of you might be the opposite. You might have a title that is right up front and it's like really clear, really great before you even start writing. So either way, it's totally fine. Dancing in the Underworld, The Quest for Wholeness. That one is interesting, Naomi. I don't know if a lead person would know that it's for them or what exactly it's about. Like it's a little bit, the meaning is a little bit flower, like the title is kind of flowery and you kind of wonder, I'm not quite sure what that means. But it sounds pretty. And so, yeah, just a comment there. Selling for introverts. That's very obvious. And I'm an introvert and I probably need to read your book, Anne. And so, okay. And I see that a lot, Naomi, actually, when people have a little bit more of a softer topic that they're writing about. Maybe it's kind of like about emotions or soul things and less concrete, like how to market your contractor business. That's like super, like, I would say I call that like a hard topic. It's just really straightforward, obvious bullet points, this. But when it's a little softer topic, that can be a little more challenging coming up with the titles and subtitles that's still super clear, but sounds a little softer and gentler at the same time. So, and there's a balance there. A memoir. Okay. Yep. Memoir. 10 steps to create the habit of inner peace. Oh, I like that. I think that's very clear. Dancing with awareness in your journey to discover your true self. That is, to me, seems a little more clear. Yeah, I like that. Okay, these are really good. You all have some fantastic ideas here. I appreciate your sharing. Okay, I'm going to go on to my next slide to talk about something. Now it's going to be a little bit of like how to use it. How to use the book. And you've probably seen people with a lead magnet book, whether you realized it was a lead magnet book or not, and they were using their book in different ways. And it might have been one of these things, or it could have been more. Here are just a few ideas that I wrote down. People say that having a book, especially if it's on the topic of something that you speak, teach on, train on, it's related to your business, your work. It's like a big business card. It's like having a big business card to get leads, to get speaking, and other types of things, which is great. You can send it out to people for interviews. And maybe I recommend not sending a ton of print versions out because that can get expensive. But that's why you can have a PDF version of your book that you can email to somebody in 1 minute. Oh, would you, I'm interested in being on your podcast, and I have this book called blah, 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 blah. And, yeah, you can email it to somebody if they're interested in potentially interviewing you, having you come and speak at an event, or even online speaking opportunities, things like that too. So it's great. It can be at the top of your sales funnel. And I don't know if you are familiar with the sales funnel concept, but it's a business concept that is like, okay, you have this funnel and you're working people down into a narrower area where they're working with you directly. And that top of the funnel is a big open area where really people need to get to know you. It needs to be things that are free or low cost. And books kind of fall into that category. Your book is going to be probably $20 or less, maybe even free, depending on how you're going to do this and your strategy with it. But it's a great way for people to get to know you as a top of your sales funnel, just marketing option. Okay. I know people who will say, come to my seminar in person and get my free book. Everyone who comes to learn about this topic, it's going to be about their business. Come and I will give you a free signed copy of my book. And so that can potentially work for some people in some situations. You can also run a challenge or a class or a workshop online or in person, and you could take the participants through some of the processes that you discuss in your book. I see people doing that often, and I think that's really fun. I've done that myself in the past as well. And that can be fun. You can also do a free plus shipping deal offer. I don't know if you've seen that. That's probably a whole training in itself, but that's like somebody saying, pay $5 and I'll send you the print version of my book. And, really people only do that with the hopes of help, those people getting that book and then wanting to work with them in the future. Like authors who do that, it's a marketing strategy, but really you have to have some kind of program, class, mentorship path, something that's very like, you're going to monetize that, whatever is next for those people who get that book. You're fairly certain you're going to be making money on those people in some way with that. So that's, not for everybody, but that people do that. And what if you partnered with some other organizations or businesses that could give your book out? If your target reader is a certain group of people, and you know of an organization or a business that works with that certain group of people a lot, could you have some sort of a collaboration with that organization or business that could just give out copies of your book to those people in hopes that some of those people would then want to work with you in the future in some way? So just a thought. And of course, you can sell it on Amazon or other book selling websites online or directly from you, and just as another income stream. I would say lead magnet books, they're not, it's probably not going to make you a ton of money in just pure book sales. But a lead magnet's purpose is to help invite people into the next things that you can help them with at deeper levels. Do you have a group? Do you have a coaching program? Do you have services that you can provide? Do you have a community that they can join, become a member at your ministry, or just anything? I mean, I feel like almost any business could have some kind of lead magnet book that they write, whether they own a cleaning company, they own a home contractor renovation company, they work with people with their financial advisor, their real estate agent, their anything really, anything. It could work. It could work. And so, okay, here is our next question, workshop question. How could you use your lead magnet book? If you look at some of these, let me go back to this slide here. If you use your lead magnet book, how would you use it? And it doesn't have to be just like, oh, just one of these things. It could be several, or it could be something else that's not even on here that you've seen somebody else doing. But how would you use it? Do you think you'd give it away for free? Do you think you'd write something short and just have a PDF download that you'd give people? Do you think you'd write a full book? Maybe run a class and walk people through something? Do you want to, yeah, just what do you think you would do? Any ideas? I'm going to open my chat window here. I have seen many free pay for shipping books. Yeah, free plus shipping. Yep, for sure. Often those are big marketers. Yeah. Yep. What would you do you think? Any ideas or any questions? Questions, or what would you do? PDF, business card. Yeah. So you, Andrea, it sounds like you want to kind of get speaking opportunities, training opportunities. And so your book would, one of the purposes could be for that. Yeah, it's good. Giving it away at speaking or training events, invite them in your program, use it in a challenge. Yes. And so that is good too. And sometimes when I run my 10-day write your book challenge, I will give away the PDF version of my author acceleration book. So yeah, that's something that you can do to join the challenge and get this free PDF ebook version of my book, things like that too. That's can definitely be. Target audience. It very much depends on your target audience, Donald. Yes. Lead magnet to build my email list and sell it on Amazon, Cindy says. Yes. Do you think you'd give it away for free, Cindy, or maybe like have a bigger book, but then like a little short report type ebook that you give away for free to build your list? Could do that. Write a lead magnet to raise awareness and point toward resources to develop from there. Raising awareness. Yes. Yep. Raising awareness, and say at the end, join my Facebook group where we talk about this. and if you are just kind of developing an idea for services or a business that you could invite people into, and you're not quite sure yet, but you have this burning message that you want to write about, you could just create a Facebook group that you invite people to, or subscribe to my podcast or my YouTube channel, or go to my website and get this free other thing right now, and then just put your name and address or email address in, and then at least they're on your kind of email list. And so for things that you end up creating or doing and offering in the future, you can still connect with those people somehow. That's really big. Books are amazing, but you kind of have to know who's reading them. If you sell them on Amazon, Amazon does not tell you who buys your book. And so being able to kind of send them to something next is really important. Come and join my Facebook group where we discuss this, couple times a month, or I go live in there and just we are creating community around this topic in Facebook. So okay, that's really good. Okay. Possibly 99 cents on Kindle. Yeah. Yep. Giving away as a PDF lead magnet. Yep. What do you mean by sell your email? Oh no, don't sell your email list on Amazon. If you are selling your book on Amazon, you don't know who's buying it. I think that's maybe, yeah, what I was saying. And so you need somehow to get those readers to do something where you know who they are. If they join your Facebook group, you know who they are and you can continue the conversation. If you get them to go to your website and enter their name and email address, then you know who they are and you can put them on your email list, your personal email list, and continue to be able to talk to them in the future. Okay. Oh, Mark has to go. Okay. Have fun, Mark. Okay, so yeah, good ideas. And these might be some things that you still need to think about, think it through. And like I said, there might be other ideas that you're able to do with your lead magnet book. And yeah, some really great ideas. So keep thinking about that. Now I want to get into some how. These are some things that you could include. Now, it might be more than one of these, several of these things. But I just want to get you thinking about, okay, this is part of the how to write it, is what kind of content you're going to be putting in there, okay? And first and foremost, you'll have to decide, am I writing a full-length book, or am I going to write something that's more of a report style, something shorter that has maybe one main point that's kind of a targeted thing that I want to talk about, something that's just real specific. Like, for example, I could probably take this slide right here about what could you include, what could you write about in your lead magnet book? I could make it a lead magnet book for working with authors. And so, like, what is one point that you talk about when it comes to the message that you have? You could turn that one point into a shorter version of a lead magnet, right? So you could do that. So first, you just have to decide, what am I doing with this particular project? And like Jan said, she has kind of a longer book right now. Well, what are the parts of my longer book right now that I need to kind of pull out that will create a shorter, more direct kind of lead magnet book? But you might have most of that already written because of your main book that you already have, which is cool. So that's good news. You might be including relevant stories about your personal journey, whatever journey that was, whether it was building a business journey, whether it was a relationship journey, whether it was a heart healing journey, whether it was a journey of overcoming something, a journey of learning a new skill, or whatever that is. Definitely, I think, include some of those stories so people really get a good sense that, oh yeah, they've been there, they know what they're talking about, they've been there, done that. People really enjoy reading about other people's processes and journeys and stories. Okay, you could definitely include that. You could include, if you're a blogger, or maybe you do a lot of journaling, or you have another book that you've already written, like Jan, or you've done some training and teaching already, and you have maybe audio that you can get transcribed from things you've already taught on this. Like, for example, my 10-day Write Your Book Challenge. Oh, no, let me use somebody else. Someone else who I know contacted me a couple of weeks ago and said, Krista, I have this challenge that I've run like 5 times. and I really want to turn it into a book. And I have all these audio transcriptions from these different sessions of my challenge that I've done. I'm like, you just got to organize that and you have your book kind of already written pretty much. It probably needs some editing, and you have to get a clear outline of what you want to include in this for sure. But yeah, you're kind of well on your way to having a book in that case, which is great. And I kind of call that your resource pile. You might have a resource pile to draw from already, to where part of your book might already be written because of all these things you've already done, this work you've already done about this message and this teaching that you have for your book's topic. Your signature talk. I don't know if you've ever heard that term before, but that's in the speaking world. That is a common term, and people will be like, okay, what's your signature talk? Meaning, if like related to the work that you do, the breakthroughs that you offer, the journey that you've been on, the things that you help people with, do you have a 15 to 20 minute talk that you could, if somebody said, hey, I want you to talk about your message tomorrow with my group online. Can you do that? Oh yeah. Like, what do you talk about? And what would you say? What do you typically say to people when you work with people? That's like a signature talk kind of feel. Or maybe you have a longer version of your signature talk that's more developed and in more detail and with more stories and more examples and more points. That's more like, this is my signature talk. If I were to talk for an hour, you can see how those would be different length books as well. But maybe you are a speaker, and if you're a speaker, people expect you to have a book. They really do. I've done some speaking, and I've in the past, and I've had the opportunity to sell my books at the book table at the back of the room, and that's just kind of expected. And a lot of times, if you just did a talk for a group of people on a certain subject that you're kind of known for, or that you train on often, people are going to be like, oh, where can I hear more? I want to take a piece of you home with me and read more about this, because you just inspired me in some way. And so it's great to have your signature talk in written form, in book form as well. So think about that. Number 5, tips and strategies that helped you succeed. Yeah, that's obvious. If it's that kind of a book, and I think actually all lead magnet books can be this kind of book. In some way, in some voice, you can talk about tips and strategies that helped you succeed or overcome or move forward or build something, or like I think even in fiction, there's a way you could write these wisdom nuggets and things like that too. So definitely include that. Maybe you have a book that needs to have some research included, maybe some scripture, some quotes, some infographics or other charts. You can do that. You can do that in a PDF, ebook, Kindle print version, doesn't matter. You can have graphics in there as well. So think about that. Do you need that for your topic? Maybe some of them would need some of these things. You can also include testimonials from people you've helped, client testimonials or things like that. You could do that in the form of they wrote it and you just included it somewhere, plopped it in there. You could write about them. You could write about helping some people and something that you walked someone through and the breakthrough that they had or results too, possibly. I would say if you're writing a lead magnet book and you're wanting people to get to know, like, and trust you, you probably don't want to just include tons of things, pieces of information that other people have written. Like the whole point is to show your expertise or to show your heart, your message. But you could include how you've helped other people. That would work really well. And information about your program or services and next steps for your readers. That is a must for, I feel like, almost every single type of book. Like even if you're writing fiction, like what are the other books that you've written? Yeah, that should probably be in the back. But with a lead magnet and the purpose and the goals, it's really, really a must. And there's a way to drip information about what you do, how you help people, your expertise along the way, all throughout your book. So it doesn't have to just be one big marketing page at the end. Because you can drip things along the way, like, oh, when I worked with that executive team of a Fortune 500 company, and they were struggling with blah, 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 I walked them through this, and then they, that is actually a marketing little drip along the way, because all of a sudden somebody's like, oh, they work with executive teams, huh? Or, one time when I was speaking for a group of blah, 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 this such and such conference, then all of a sudden they go, oh, they do speaking. Oh, interesting. When I worked with one author one time who had this kind of a book, da, 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 and I helped them, da, da, da. Oh, they coach authors. Okay. So you can see how just by what you're writing and what you're saying here and there can drip the information about your program and services along the way. Okay. So I think there's a strategy in that, especially for this kind of book. Definitely. And then have a marketing page at the end. Yes. Next steps, call to action. Do they go join your Facebook group? Do they go to your calendar and book a 15-minute clarity call with you? Do you, whatever it is, yeah, give them a next step so they can get with you. And endorsements. Endorsements are something that I feel like not every book really needs. They're optional, but this book could potentially benefit from endorsements. And I like to talk about them as being, somebody could give you a personal endorsement, or they could give you a book specific endorsement. And let me explain what that means. Personal endorsement sounds like Roseanne Roberts Archuleta is an amazingly inspiring woman who helps people move forward. And I love working with her. She's been amazing. And then whoever that was. That's personal. Roseanne could use that in every book she writes forever. She could use that as an endorsement. She could use that on her website. She could, on marketing little graphics or whatever. But a more specific, like book specific, would be like Jen Duvall's book called, book title here, was a breakthrough read for me. And I got a new perspective on blah, blah, blah as I read it, and I highly recommend it. That is a very book specific endorsement, right? And so those are both useful. And if you have people do endorsements, encourage them to stay concise and be like maybe 3 to 4 sentences max. Although some people, you're like, I'm just happy to have whatever you want to write. I'm just happy to get something back from this person and, be grateful. But shorter, more concise endorsements are kind of just easier to work with in formatting them into the books. And also too, sometimes people just don't read a super long endorsement. Sometimes people go, I'm just gonna read who wrote that endorsement, and like that's it, especially if it's really long. So, but endorsements could be something that you can include. So here's my question to you. What will you include? What do you think you can put in your lead magnet book from this list of things? Do you have a signature talk? Do you have a resource pile of things from your blogs, from previous books, from journals, from audio transcriptions of trainings or teachings or workshops you've done in the past? Do you have stories? I hope you have stories that you can include about your personal journey. I think that's super important. And got tips and strategies. You're like all of the above. I don't know. What do you think needs to be in your lead magnet book? What could you include? I'm going to look at my chat now. Tips and strategies. Anne says, yes. Oh, Jen's had to leave. Got some workshops that I can make into a PDF lead magnet. Yes, you can. You certainly can. Yep. Tips and stories. Donald says, yes, definitely. Definitely. Love it. Yep. Yep. Like I said, my author acceleration book includes content from my 10-day write your book challenge. Can and will probably do most, if not all of these. Andrea says, yeah. Why not? I'm drinking my tea here. You think that I would love coffee because I'm from the Seattle area, but no, tea. Okay, I have some workshop components that would be good for this project. Yes. Can these be living books and added to? I think they can, especially if you make them an e-book or PDF form. Those could morph very easily. Because if you think about it, if you're creating a print book, the only thing that makes it a little challenging, two things, to kind of expanding or contracting that often is because you have a book cover that is created for a specific number of pages. Your spine size is on a specific number of pages. So you really don't want to change that much if you can help it. Now, can you change stuff within those pages? Like say you have a marketing page at the end and then, oh, my program's website address changed now, or I'm calling it something a little different now. I have a new class that I wanted to mention, that's fine. As long as you're not changing the page counts. If you think about like, wow, maybe add a blank page at the end. If you think you might in the future need a blank page to add something to in the future, add a blank page at the end. Just build it in there from the start. And also your ISBN number. When you get your ISBN numbers, you kind of have to say how many pages that book is. So you don't want to be changing a print version of that. Your e-versions don't really have to have an ISBN number, but your print version pretty much does. Okay. Let's see, Jill, I have one idea, but now I've got a bunch more. Sorry, that happens when you come to my trainings, is all of a sudden you have 15 ideas. So I love that. Okay. Some challenges, a workshop, lots of checklists. Yes, checklists can also be a lead magnet item. Not necessarily a book per se, but that can be another example of a lead magnet item that you could say, hey, get this lead magnet checklist now for all the things you need to do when it comes to blah, 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 whatever it is. Free download right now. And then they just put in their name and their email. You see that often. with business type things. Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. Thank you for the chatting and your ideas here. Okay. So yes, what could you include? Okay. So I want to, oh, Eileen has joined us too. Welcome. Great, great, great. Okay. I'm just checking to see who's here. Okay. Roseanne, I want to for just a couple minutes talk with you about what lead magnet book that you want to do. Roseanne is part of my Author Acceleration Academy and has written some books in the past. And so what are you going to be writing a lead magnet book about?
Okay, well, first of all, I want you to know for some reason my chat won't work. So I've been trying to chat with you guys and I can't. So
Oh no.
just so you know, I don't know what it's doing. But anyway, what's happened is, being in the acceleration group, it's just constant ideas. It's just wonderful. And then we do ground them and we create books and we're doing that. We're working on all kinds of things, both my husband and I. Yeah. So what came out of a recent discussion with Krista and another author, Judy, whose last name is escaping me. But anyway, we're talking. I have a program that's called the Dream Benefit. I used it in corporate at just a regular client of mine, where I took 50 people over the course of a year through dreaming about both personal and professional goals. Yeah. It was everybody from senior people to entry-level people, and it was very successful within that context. I tried marketing it when I went back out on my own in 2019, but what I was being asked to do was have so many dream coaches that I couldn't handle the work. So I know there's a need for this. So what happened with Krista and Judy, when we were talking about it, it all came back to me. And I thought, you know what, if I did one of these lead magnet books on the dream benefit, I could just, instead of going to large employer groups, I could pick and choose smaller groups and have it be a lead. And you know what happened today to me, Krista, as you were talking, I was thinking, putting it together, one version would be for that, but I also at the same time could do a workbook. So you could do them both. So I didn't have to do this twice. So I don't know if that makes sense. And I don't know the timetable on this because I've got other books that I'm writing, but I got really excited that this could be the answer to the Dream Benefit program.
Yes, that could be really excellent. And I like, in this case, having a workbook too, because if you're taking people through a process and dreaming and goals and all these things, they probably need a workbook or a journal type of a tool.
Right.
So that's a natural fit. So some of you are going to also probably benefit from having some other resource that goes along with your main book too, like that companion resource like that. Yeah. And so
the other thing, one more thing that came out of today so far, recording my coachings and recording my trainings in a different way. I'm using, because of one of the authors in the acceleration group, I'm using this tool called Otter, which you record and it becomes a Word doc. It's so easy. So I was thinking, man, this could start writing itself. Actually, here we are again, trying to get my books to write themselves.
Why not? I guess, because I feel like you already have content, put it to use for sure. And if you already have, so this is for everybody to kind of think about too. If you already have a process, Roseanne, if you walking people through this dream coaching process, and you already take them through certain steps and you ask certain questions in a certain order, that would be a good, working on your outline for what you want to write and how probably a lot of you, like if you have a program or an offer or service like Roseanne does, and you may or may not, yours might be a little different, but you kind of need to sell somebody on I don't know if sell is the right word. You have to help them understand what it could do for their life. And like get them thinking about possibilities, get them like envisioning a future that could look different and could look better. And like that's what you want to do, is you want to help people to set those goals for their future to look brighter. And so sometimes that has to be upfront at the beginning of your book. You need to help them to get on board with this transformation that they could take and what that could do for them. And even just defining, well, what is the dream? Tell me again, Roseanne, what it's called? Dream
Called Dream Benefit. The website is
benefit.
www.thedreambenefit.com if anybody wants to look at it.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of the other thing too. I talked to Cigna Insurance about it because they do a lot of workplace well-being things. It's a big thing now, and they only have health and fitness coaches. And my program, there's 10 areas: financial wellness, legacy planning, relationships with family members and such, as all kind. There's 10 things. And they were blown away because nobody was doing that. So I know I'm going to want to include that right up front.
I'm sure nobody is doing that. And so that could be, I mean, I think you have to help people too, for everybody, help people understand what it is that you do. Like, what is the dream benefit? What does that even mean? What does that look like? So in your books, you may need to get that foundational understanding, or if you have a certain perspective on an issue, maybe you talk about financial planning and you have a little bit of a different perspective on what should be priorities and how that industry works. Maybe you have a little bit of a beef with it or something. You want people to get to know your perspective and your methods and things like right away, so they can get on board with it. And also, I think how you present your content to, and even your personality and your mindset on it and your perspective on it, it helps people to self-select themselves out to, like, yeah, I'm not sure if I'm that person's target person. And that's okay. But you also, so they're going to sort and sift themselves as they read. And some of those people who read are gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. This person totally gets me. And this is exactly how I'm feeling too. And I can see how this could help me. And but some people might be like, I'm not sure if I totally agree with this person's approach to it. And so, yeah, I don't know. And that's okay. That's completely okay. And so at the end of reading, somebody's gonna, if they are on board with what you have to say and your approach to it and all of that, you're like, I need to join their group. I need to connect with them more. I need to read their other books. I need to go see about this challenge that they're running. And because a lot of times people, reading is great, but is that actually going to help you make the actual transformation, get the actual breakthrough? Sometimes it's a process. And so some of us have a process type of an offer or service that we can help people with next. Okay. So it's just, yeah. So people can kind of sort and sift themselves as they read. And that's, in my opinion, fine.
I was so blessed to have the opportunity to work with these 50 people, because the range was what we're talking about. I had a person decide to have children during our time together.
Ooh.
A lot of this stuff was in people's heads, and then coming into this structure, they then decided to take action. A lot of people had fantasies about where they'd retire, but they never went there. And then during our time, they went. Of the 3 people, 2 people weren't going there once they saw it and got off the internet, and 1 bought a house, so it was like that range. One more thing, somebody's asking about Otter. Just Google OTTER .com.
I
It's
think it's
free.
.ai.
Oh, is it dead? I'm sorry. You tell them that. Yeah, there you go.
Yep, I think
And
that's it.
it's free if you only do 30 minutes at a time. It's not expensive, whatever it was. I bought it because I do an hour, at a time when I'm recording.
Yeah. So, okay, I just typed a little bit in there. But you said something, Rosanna, thank you for sharing. And I think it is the taking action piece. A lot of people will read something and gather information and be like, oh, that's cool. But how can you help people take action on it? And it's the same with me and my author stuff. I do a lot of training and give a lot of information, but that doesn't mean somebody's going to actually take action with it. But I would like to help people take action with it. And so I'm sure you feel the same about what the things that you want to talk and train on. So, okay, thank you, Roseanne. I'm going to go on to now. I'm going to do, this is my last regular slide, and then we can do some Q&A. And then if you do want to take some action and you would like to work with me a little bit further, I'm just going to give you some options for how to do that next. But okay, is writing a book hard? Some of you already have written books, so you're like, I got this. I understand how it works. I know the process. I know the steps. And some of you are like, I have not written yet. I haven't quite done this. It does take some time. It takes some thought, it takes some skill, and it takes some know-how. But I want you to know that this could be one of the easiest books that you write, just because it's something that you probably talk about all the time. You're probably versed in talking with people about this already. And if you're not, maybe do some practice talking. Do some practice talking to some people about this. Do some podcasting. Just start talking about this. And it's probably something that's on your heart, or it's just a skill set that you have or something like that. But you probably talk about this all the time. And if you write like it's a conversation, and oh, Jolene's here. Hi, Jolene. And if you write like it's a conversation, that sometimes makes it easier, because if you can envision yourself sitting down with another person and walking them through something, telling them your stories, like taking them step by step, or whatever it is, helping them understand what your program or service is, or just what, more about your message and just what you're passionate about, and write like it's a conversation, like you would in order of helping them like logically understand. Like there's a logical flow when it comes to like outlining something. They have to know this first and get a picture of this first before they can start to understand this next thing, and it builds on itself as you go. Okay. And some chapters could write themselves, because like we've talked about, some of you have resources that you can pull from to use in this particular book. If you're busy, get some help. Get some help. Do you have more time than money, or more money than time? There are people in both of those categories. And if you have more time than money, you probably want to spend some time learning about the author and publishing world. Just like this, any new skill that you have, any new endeavor, any new business, any new skill that you want to learn, it does require some new learning and new education in order to do it well. And learn. That's one of my biggest pieces of advice here, recommendations. But there are people who can help you do different aspects of the publishing process and all of that, if you need it. And think about if you're just going to do an e-version, a print, something free, like those have different levels to them in complexity. And so maybe you start out with writing a lead magnet that's 20 pages long, that's going to be a PDF downloadable printable ebook, and it's kind of more on one point as and you're going to give it away for free. Maybe that's where you start. I don't know. Or maybe you dive in to do the whole big, you're like, I just got to get this big first one done, and then I'll be able to maybe break that apart in the future for other smaller things as needed. But whatever's going to work for you. And oh, by the way, if you have Microsoft Word on your computer, on your laptop, you have one of the greatest publishing tools that there is, strangely. Okay, so I want you to know that if you have Word, Word plus Amazon equals a fairly easy path for self-publishing, because you can create your print version, you can create your Kindle version in just using Word. You really can. You might need to brush up on your Word skills or get some help there with formatting or things. But yeah, you can't really create a book cover in Word, but you can create the manuscript, format it, Kindle version. Yeah. So I just want you to know that you have a great tool already if you have Word. All right. Okay, let's do some Q&A. I am going to open the chat in case somebody wants to chat their question, or we need to keep these probably pretty short questions. But if anybody has a question regarding a lead magnet book, unmute yourself and let me know. Anyone? Or anything we've talked about? Oh, Andrea has to go. Thanks, Andrea. All right. Please repeat what you had to say about the Microsoft helping format to Kindle. Oh, okay. So Cindy, Amazon. Okay, so if you go to Amazon KDP, I'm going to chat this, KDP equals Kindle Direct Publishing. There is, if you find that online, Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing, they have a gigantic help section for authors, gigantic. And there's a section there where you can find templates for different size print books and things like that. And like, just say you want to create a 6x9 print book, you can find a template there that has all the margins all perfectly set for a 6x9 print book, which is cool. What I typically will do is I will take and I will create the print version first, and then I'll take that print version, and you have to do some morphing on the print version to make it work correctly for the Kindle version, but it can be done. The print version directly doesn't convert quite properly into a Kindle version, so you have to do some modifying, but that can be done. That's kind of one of the trainings we have in the Author Acceleration Academy. It's like, how can you turn your print version into a Kindle version in Word? But it can be done, and it's not difficult. So just have to just know certain things. What's not going to convert over properly, so I have to adjust this for the Kindle version a little bit. So I don't know if that answered your question fully, but you can create your Kindle version in Word, which is great. Okay, good. Okay. Any other questions at all right now? Anything else? If you think of something.
About how people can work with you, Krista, and I just really need to do a shout out. Because I met Krista, I don't know, maybe this time last year, we started working together. My sister in New York recommended her to help with editing and then uploading. My husband and I do historical marker books, and we had one that needed to be formatted and edited and all this stuff. Anyway, so that's how we first came in contact. And from that journey, and that was very successful experience, does what she says she's going to do. I mean, all that is so important when you're hiring a consultant. But then in her Broken Chapters book, I was offered the opportunity to have a chapter, which really has rocked my world. That chapter is becoming a book. So much support from Krista, and then joining the acceleration group, I just re-upped for another year. You don't know the power of being with other. I didn't even know what I was getting into and how it's fed my soul. And then she's working with my, Krista's working with my husband right now, editing on a big book. So it's just been a wonderful relationship. I can't recommend her enough. And that's all I'll say.
And that was not a paid advertisement. Thank you. Thank you, Roseanne. Thank you. Thank you. I love our Author Acceleration Academy members. We call ourselves an author family. And we're a faith-based group. And there's just a wonderful group of people in there working on amazing things that are going to make meaningful differences in the lives of readers. And so I love them all. Okay. Thank you for that, Roseanne. Okay. And so I would just want to quickly let you know, I am not a high pressure salesperson, but if you need some help, if you need some next steps, if you want to work with me in some way, here are some things that you could do. This one is this is my Author Acceleration book. It's available on Amazon, print, and Kindle version. I do run the 10-day Write Your Book Challenge. It's probably about twice a year lately is what I've been doing that. And I think I will be doing one more session before the end of the year. It's not scheduled yet, but stay tuned. I will most likely be doing that sometime in the next couple of months. And that's for someone who is wanting to get going with a new project, and that's really helpful for that process. I also, as you've heard, do the Author Acceleration Academy. We meet weekly, and we have a good time of sharing ideas, accountability, learning. My heart is I really want self-publishing authors to understand how publishing works. And I don't want to see them overspending or getting taken advantage of, which can happen in our industry. And I don't want to see them not writing their books either, because this is something in life that kind of can get easily pushed off of our to-do list and puts on the back burner. And sometimes people just, I don't want to see that happen if you have the dream and the goal to write a book. And you're supposed to. So definitely join us. That's $9.97 a year. Or we do have a $97 a month option as well, if that works. We have tons of resources, tons of helpful links, tons of trainings on very specific things. And all kinds of checklists and worksheets and all kinds of great things. So join us there, especially if you plan to write several books too, because that could be really, really helpful. And if you want individual help, I'm going to chat actually some of these links here. What's the group called again? It's called Author Acceleration Academy. I'm going to chat those links there. Author Acceleration Academy is my group, Trilby. And I'm doing something fun and new that's called Book Week. I got inspired by that name because of Shark Week. But this is Book Week, where if you really like, I have to get this book out, I really need it, I want it to be done soon. Not that you're gonna like write a full book in a week, which I know people who have, it's possible, but this would be a week that you and I can work directly together. Not all day, every day, but Monday through Friday, we would work on Zoom for like 45 to 90 minutes maybe. And you would get some homework and you would be developing your book a lot in that particular week, we'll be talking about your book covers, your titles, get you a print version template that's going, that you can start putting stuff in it. We'll be building it. Your outline, just clarity on a lot of different things. So if that's an option, learn more at that link there, kristadunk.com bookweek/book week. And 100x Publishing Services, like I mentioned earlier, that's how I help people with their actual like editing things, the tasks related to publishing. And so there's an info page there at 100xpublishing.com. And then I also just do hourly consultations as well. And so if that's something that sometimes, we get a lot done on those consultations. Potentially, I've helped people set up their book's template, and that can be used for all kinds of different things. So if you need individual help, these are all possibilities for you, and I would love to talk to you more about that. So I would say in the chat, all those links that I posted, click them now, because once we get done, those will go away. But kristadunk.com/bookweek. If you're interested in that, author-acceleration-academy.com is where you can kind of learn more about the Academy and what we do and our author family there. Info@kristadunk.com is my email address. And then 100xpublishing.com is also about getting various services done. So any questions about any of that? Anything. Do I need to become a member for the weekly group? Yes, the Author Acceleration Academy. Yep, I meet weekly with all those members. Yes. Good information and reboot. Yes. Get the fire going again. Yeah. And think about this lead magnet tool as being part of, your marketing expenses too, because, sometimes marketing, there's some free marketing that we can do, low cost marketing. And then sometimes marketing strategies and solutions are going to have another cost to them. There are ways to get a book out and not spend a ton of money. If you know what you're doing, and the different resources here and there that are out there that are affordable, and what you can do yourself, what you can DIY, or what you're going to need help with. Book covers, definitely have a professional looking book cover, because people do judge books by their cover, despite the nice saying that we should not. That very much happens. Okay. Cookbook, cool. Oh, I think somebody had a question about, can you, let's see, have more than one book as a lead magnet? Jill, I believe that yes, you can. Depending, especially, I've seen people do this, even if it's on the same kind of topic. But if you are someone who has maybe a couple different things that you do in your life, you could have a couple of different lead magnets for both of those businesses or services too. So, okay, we are officially done with our presentation. I'm going to stop my share, see who we have left. Okay, we have many of you left on. Thank you for joining me today. I won't keep you any longer. I know this is Saturday. We all have places to go, people to see, and things to do. So thank you so much. Thank
you, Krista. This was great. Naomi here.
I am so glad you loved it. Yay.
So much information. I'm going bum.
This is pretty much like our weekly trainings in the Academy.
That's good. I'm getting back into the swing of it. So after taking some time off from writing.
It helped me realize what I already have ready, that I can get going.
Yes.
And that I have to take time to learn.
Yes, it's one of those things that I think people think, oh, I'm gonna write this book, and then they get into it and they go, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Sometimes that happens, or they just kind of realize there's so much more to know just besides like the writing part, and then there's the publishing part, and then there's this marketing part, and so it definitely, yeah, definitely learn. Just keep learning. Oh, Roseanne lives in New Mexico. Doreen lives in the South.
Yeah.
In Missouri.
Missouri. Eileen lives in California. I think Trilby also lives in California, maybe. Christine, where do you live?
Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Oh, yes, because you're Roseanne's friend. Yes. Great. Trilby in Utah. Oh, yes, because you know Mark. Mark is from Utah as well.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, we had people from all over today on the call. So, and you know what? You could do some of this too. If your book, message, whatever that lead magnet is, whatever it is, your programs, your services, your coaching, your groups that you run. Yeah, you could do very similar.
I'll just second what Roseanne said. Krista is amazing.
Oh,
I've been in the group for a little bit, and she gives good information, and yeah.
thank you, Doreen.
Great.
Thank you. Yep. If anybody,
Can also say our accelerator group, it's international. There's people from other countries, which really it blew my mind too. It's really neat, you guys. Anyway, all right, I gotta go. Penn State's playing football.
Penn
I gotta
State,
go.
go Penn State, or go whatever state you're voting for. Yeah, you're rooting for. Thank you
Bye,
all.
everybody.
Have a
Bye.
great rest of your weekend. Bye for now.